ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20. Tonight's race is sponsored by Canterbury RV. For more than 30 years, Canterbury has been building high-quality havens that blend the simple life with the good life. They offer folks the chance to outfit their RVs where the possibilities are as boundless as the great outdoors itself. Swing by and check out Canterbury RV today. Canterbury RV is operated by DNA Enterprises Incorporated, located at 2470 East Kircher Road, Goshen, Indiana. Or give them a call today at area code 574-534-0034 and get started on your dream home in the outdoors.
It is race 9 here at Michigan International Speedway. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another presentation of the iRacing ButtKicker Cup Series for the Canterbury RV 200. 100 laps getting set to get racing here for this beautiful 2-mile venue with nearly 30 drivers getting set to rumble away and see who can come on top in the penultimate round in the regular season of the Super Cup Series here in 2021. My name is Nola Rempo. I'll have Al Kozlowski joining me shortly up here in the broadcast booth with Rob Melnick down behind the cameras for tonight's presentation. It's bound to be an entertaining race tonight. Draft is going to be key. Michigan has become a very heavy draft track. However, unlike Daytona, the last race in the regular season, it will not be all about the draft altogether. Tire wear obviously will play a huge factor, particularly in the corners, as just to prove the point, you see Kyle Labrie pushing up into the wall, still in those last few minutes of practice. Obviously, tire wear will kick in big time. The lap times will start to be affected, roughly about 5 to 10 laps into a run, sometimes dropping off as much as 2 seconds, depending on the driver. So it'll be crucial to see how these drivers will be able to manage their cars throughout the course of this 100-lap race. Take a look over at the championship standings. Clayton Hoffman currently in the lead, but because he has missed the last 2 races, in a precarious position at the moment. Just 24.5 points separate Hoffman from Matthew McMeekin, with Kenny Powell just 1.5 points behind McMeekin himself. Dan Shamoon is in 4th place with 44.5 points back from Hoffman. And then you have, of course, Brian Johnson rounding out the top 5 in points, just 46 points behind your current points leader in the Cup Series standing. Of course, the big story at the moment is in the Super Cup Series standings. You got a few drivers who are trying to work their way in. You got Justin Levine, Jonathan Delaney, John Ballew, and Chris Severa, all with wins so far in the Super Cup Series season. The 2 drivers with the ability to get in most are Levine and Delaney. That being said, neither driver present tonight, meaning they will not be able to meet the 6-race minimum requirement to get in on wins. This means that it is basically between Greg Wyszynski and Chris Johnson, who are currently exactly 40 points clear of each other, with Johnson up in the final transfer spot in the top 8, going to be making that effort to try to see if he can race his way into the championship for the playoffs of the Super Cup Series season. Practice comes to a close, and we get set for qualifying from Michigan International Raceway. Going to take a look at some of the track facts here. We'll wait for some of these guys to come on around and take a look, see what the qualifying times will be. It's a hot track down there, 115 degrees Fahrenheit with 80 degrees Fahrenheit over in the air. Winds are a little bit gusty out there, running about southeast at about 7 miles an hour. So should be a bit interesting here to see how the weather and temperature could play into a factor of things. Obviously, 100-lap race set for us here tonight for the Canterbury RV 200 at Michigan. 3 stages, as always. Stage 1 concludes at the end of lap 20. Stage 2, the conclusion of 45. And then, of course, you race it out to the end from there. Pit window is roughly 36 laps, meaning we will not be seeing pit stops under green, at least, we expect, until the final end, that final stage of the race. 5 tire sets on the dock for tonight instead of the usual 4. Meaning you split your tires up roughly 1 every about 20 laps. You should find yourself clear to the end. Some drivers just starting their warm-up laps presently. You've got Robert Pattengale. Looks like he'll be one of the first drivers out there, along with Josh Schaffner, running his way through turns 3 and 4 now. Schaffner will be the driver to put down that benchmark time that everybody out there is going to be trying to beat. Now, Schaffner was around the midfield, so we expect this time to be beaten pretty quickly. The 50 car across the line logs a 38.565. That is a couple tenths slower than his fastest practice lap. No surprise there, though, being the fact that this is, of course, without any draft down these straightaways, which obviously does help. Already, though, Chuck Sweeting beating them out easily with a 38.193 to put that 53 machine up on pole position. He is already abandoning a second lap, too, so Chuck Sweeting not getting the good run-up for his second lap, it would seem. Will not be able to log that time. There's Kyle Labrie, currently sitting 3rd place with a 38.243. Trying to see if he can push himself up onto the front row. Currently just 1,000th of a second behind the Gator Racing driver of Gil Gawk. It's currently a Gator Racing 1-2. We'll have to see if Frontline can put themselves on the front row. Across the line, a 38.323 for Kyle Labrie. Does not improve on his second qualifying time. The number 9 car will stay 3rd place for the time being. Dan Shamoon logs in a 38.248. Just 5 thousandths of a second behind Labrie, down in 4th place. The other frontline driver is going to be trying to work his way up to maybe punch his way out of the front row. Just 6 thou back from Gil Gawk. Definitely has the potential to do it, but he's kind of pushed up a little bit weak towards the outside wall. Didn't really get the best of the runs. You see one of the other frontline drivers of Eduardo Oliveira blazing down pit road and might have even gotten himself a good old speeding penalty on entry, making the practice for pit entry, not getting that second time in. Here's Brian Johnson, G&G driver, logging himself onto the front row. 1 thou over Gil Gawk. So it is just 3 thousandths of a second between 3rd, 4th, and 5th, with Chad Sullivan going second fast with a 38.211. Johnson across the line, 38.440. No improvement for the number 4. So here is Justin Levine, one of those drivers that needs to race in both this race and the next to punch his way in on wins. A 38.258 at the moment for Levine. Sees himself in the midfield. Currently sitting in 8th place. Jeffrey Souza. How about Souza going to the top? 3rd fastest with a 38.229 for the number 29 machine. Souza is flying out there tonight, as is many of the drivers out there. We continue to watch Kyle Labrie. Check that Justin Levine ducking and weaving his way down through turns 3 and 4. Trying to improve on what is currently 9th place. Going to be coming across the line this time back. Has a 38.258 to beat. 38.410. No improvement for Levine. It seems like a lot of drivers only going for these one-lap sprints before they kind of die off. Makes me wonder if maybe the track is just that big. Oh, and Souza with a hit to the inside wall. Past the checkered flag. 20 seconds left on the docket. Eduardo Oliveira, one of the last drivers out there with just 10 seconds on the clock, and Oliveira get back to the line in time in his number 26 frontline Ford Mustang. 5 seconds on the clock. This one will be close. Can you get that second time in? At the buzzer. Doesn't get it in with no time logged. With qualifying complete, we'll take a step back. We'll take a swing on over to the national anthem And, of course, we'll go to the starting grid right after.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Drivers, start your engine! And we are back for the ButtKicker starting grid here for the Canterbury RV 200 from Michigan International Speedway. Chuck Sweeting up on pole position in his Gator race at number 53 with Chad Sullivan just behind him in the Reaper Speed Labs 21 on the front row. Jeffrey Souza sits in third with Brian Johnson fourth. Gil Gawk in fifth with Kyle O'Brien down in sixth. Dan Shamoon seventh. Eduardo Oliveira in eighth. Justin Levine and Heath Schneider, Al's pick to win tonight, rounding out the top 10.
And coming in on 11th would be Wayne Grassi. 12th would be Clayton Hoffman. 13th, Austin Greer. 14th, Connor Mulligan. 15th, Chris Johnson. 16th, Josh Schaffner. 17th will be John Mullins. 18th will be Matthew McMeekin. 19th will be Kenny Powell. And rounding out the top 20 tonight will be the 5 car of Greg Wachinski.
Randy Drumhiller, Michael Grant, and Robert Pattengale, the last of the drivers to log times in qualifying. From there on back, we move to Roy Hyde, Brian Littleton, with Paul Olson, Cecil Keith, and Paul Regney rounding out the 28-car field on the night. Should be a very fun race up ahead of us here. 100 laps, 3 stages. Stage ends being the ends of laps 20, 45, and of course running from there to the end of the race.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely hot track tonight here, Nolan. So we should be seeing a little bit of slipping and sliding, but it should not occur till about lap 12 or 13. If we have a caution early on before that, then it's going to set precedence for how we see this race going.
We expect base car to roll any second now, holding Chuck Sweeting on the pole. Correct me if I'm wrong, Al, but this is one of Chuck Sweeting's first and only poles so far at the ISCA. Am I not correct in saying that?
Well, it's a long time coming. Chuck Sweeting is a great, talented driver, and he deserves this pole tonight. So congratulations on that. He beat out one heck of a driver of Chad Sullivan. So that's a big feat, and that's only, 0.2 of a second faster.
0.02 of a second faster, in fact. It's definitely not a big gap at all. In fact, might even be less than that. I'm thinking 18 thousandths of a second separating them. Don't forget 4th, 5th, and 6th. 3,000 separating them. Johnson with the 241, Gil Gawk at 242, Labrie with the 243.
That's too close to call right there. The high line here, Nolan, is the line you want to have if you can get it. The low line is where you're going to eat up your tire, and tire preservation is extremely important at this track. We're going to see a lot of these guys that won't lift for about 5 or 6 laps, and then you'll start seeing their RPMs dropping as they start entering these turns, so they can plant that front end and make a turn successfully without sliding up into somebody. But we will see, I'm sure we're going to see some of the inside cars sliding up into the outside and even probably knocking some of those guys into the wall that are on the high line.
The last of the cars are just now catching up to the tail end of the pacing line. It'll be a fast race, both in speed and possibly in time if this race goes caution-free. Of course, with draft races like this, seldom do things ever go 100% to plan. Pace car pulls down to pit road. That will leave it in the hands of the iRacing starter. Chuck Sweden on this initial start, having to wait for the iRacing green. Entering that Geico restart zone. Green flag drops. We're underway from Michigan.
Let's keep an eye on that high line. Watch those guys. If they can ride that high line really good, Nolan, they're going to be able to take this lead away from Chuck Sweeting easily.
Still too wide, all the rows deep down to the turn number 1.
Three wide.
Who's looking for 3 wide? That's Dan Shamoon, down the inside of both Labrie and Gil Gawk. Gawk getting swamped in the middle. Look at the highline pull. The A-car goes past. Oliveira gets a shot from his front line teammate.
Yeah, that pull in that high line was extremely strong. So that gave a little bit of a break there for our leader out there. He can keep those guys battling side by side behind him. He's going to probably pull away from this field.
Not the side that Oliveira wanted to see is his own front line teammate filling his rear view window, and then his own bumper as well. Heath Schneider will have damage on the front of his machine big time as a result of that checkup. He's got a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to try to make up more and more time over the course of the race. The top 3 are single file out. Chuck Sweeney and Paul Sitter currently side by side with Jeffrey Souza trying to pull the outside groove and get in line with Kyle Labrie up in 3rd.
Yeah, they've got to keep that nose to tail up there in order to pull away from this field. If you're racing side by side here, you're going to not go anywhere. I mean, you've got to get nose to tail.
That's honestly the story with a lot of plate tracks nowadays, especially with Daytona and Talladega. Brian Johnson down the inside of Chad Sullivan. The G&G Southern Spiral Pipe number 4 Chevrolet is up to the lead, but maybe not for long. The Abruzzi frontline driver, Kyle Labrie, trying to work on Chad Sullivan and his number 9 Mustang, diving it off into turn number 3, maybe trying to run down Brian Johnson for the lead.
That's exactly what Brian Johnson wants to see, those other guys battling behind him like that. If they get nose to tail, it stands a chance for one of them getting a great push to pass him, but whoever stays behind Brian Johnson probably will end up getting 2nd place here. That 29 car looks like he's going to stick his nose in here and try to help that high line, but he's not close enough to do anything.
No, sir, he is not. At least not close enough for now. Sullivan definitely trying to fight the outside of Labrie there. You saw him getting all too close to comfort to the right rear quarter, nearly hooking Labrie into the wall. Looks as though Chuck Sweden is still trying to make up time up in front, but getting held up by Justin Levine up the road from him. Eduardo Oliveira going to go through as well. Now, this is crucial here, Al, particularly with Justin Levine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe he is one of those drivers that is trying to work his way in. In fact, he is. He needs to race both this race and Daytona, the last race on the regular season, to be able to make it into the playoffs and push Chris Johnson out. Justin Levine just needs to race these next 2 weeks, start the races, and he is good to go.
We got Sweeting is really giving the pinch here on the high line there and getting really close to them. That's going to cause one of those guys to get really squirrely. As you see, Levine kind of stepped it out a little bit there. You want to see a loose car for about 8 laps. I mean, loose is fast at this track. So, but in the meantime, 1st and 2nd have checked out. And they're not drastically out there, but they are out there.
They're not out there by much, though. As soon as these guys straighten up and single file out behind them, you can guarantee they're going to be trying to run down that front group, and then Brian Johnson might not be as safe as he might think he is at the moment. Still got one of the first.
All Brian has to do is protect that high line. I mean, that low line is, like I said earlier, it's going to eat up the tires. If you see somebody's trying to go to the 2nd place position on that low line, you can't do that for that long. I mean, you're eating up your right side tires when you do that. So that's not going to give you the longevity in the run here.
Shimoon blazing past Jeffrey Souza, putting himself up into third position, but Souza in the Esports Racing Group number 29 Ford Mustang really working the outside groove, and he's going to have all the run in the world on Kyle Labrie and Brian Johnson. Johnson already not as safe as he might hope. You can see Labrie is starting to run down that number 4 car, trying to see if he can close it any which way. Johnson pulls ahead in the corners, but Labrie just starts to run him down every so often over down these straightaways.
It might be you're seeing Kyle Labrie is checking up. He's trying to save and preserve his tires in these turns there, and in the long run, that's going to help. If Brian Johnson is flat-footing these corners right here, he is eating up more tires than the cars behind him. That might be what we're seeing here. They're not going to make any big moves right now unless they're actually given that opportunity, because they're just going to save their tires.
Sweeting on the charge. Further in the background, Austin Greer dropping down a couple of spots. Wayne Grossi trying to potentially work his way back up through the order, with Kenny Powell trying to hunt him down to the inside line. Look at the 24 machine with a huge head of steam. Passes up Hoffman and Wayne Grossi almost in the same corner.
Yeah, he's not going to make that pass on the inside unless he has help back there. And he only has one car behind him, so that high line is going to kind of push him back a little bit. He needs more help.
You see just further up the road as well, another side-by-side battle just sorted itself out, with Chuck Sweeting going to get the spot over John Mullins just up the road for these guys. Powell and Chris Johnson still do battling side by side through turns 3 and 4, with Clayton Hoffman on their outside. Also trying to be put down spots, Josh Schaffner trying to keep Chris Johnson at bay, and will do so with Matthew McMeekin, P2 at the moment, in the point stand. He's going to be going up and making up another position. However, Clayton Hoffman is currently still with that points advantage further up the road. Hoffman with a couple of spots gained, and if he can keep this gap, this points gap the way it is coming into Daytona, it might just be over for the regular Cup Series.
Yeah, if these second and third place do not get in line here, it's going to be a mess. There we go, where it looks like third place is going to lose his position there. Moves to drop to fourth. No, he's going to hold on.
Shmoon getting a big push into turn 3 from Justin Levine, trying to make up third place, currently held by Jeffrey Souza. Did he get him at the line? Think he might have just gotten there. In fact, he did. In fact, you saw Kyle Labrie running down with his frontline teammates, trying to help them all out to the front so they can team up on Brian Johnson up in the front of this thing.
Well, what they're doing, if Brian Johnson is being conservative on his tires, he's allowing second, third, and fourth to use up their equipment, and that's going to give an opportunity. It looks like for Justin Levine to kind of step into this. This is pretty smart in a sense. I mean, you don't want to wait it out. But, this looks like it has all the makings of a green flag run here, and you do not want to get that far back.
Don't forget, though, Brian Johnson has got his face full of frontline. Frontline running in P2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at the moment. He's got an army behind him, all of them trying to charge him down. And the only thing stopping them at the moment is Justin Levine going side by side with Jeffrey Souza, the only driver in this grouping here, not a part of the frontline crew, running in his own Esports Racing Group machine. So it's a rough go at the moment for the frontline guys. But if they can work together here, they should be able to easily run down Brian Johnson in no time.
Yeah, what Brian Johnson has to do is he has to kind of break that draft between that second place of Labrie. He has to watch what line he's not comfortable in and run that line. Because if you can break that draft, you'll end up pulling away.
Already over a tenth of the way through this 100-lap event. Chad Sullivan further in the order in the Reaper Speed Labs machine. This driver started up in second place and dropped back so much in the opening lap. Sullivan's currently trying to work his way back up, just, I believe, secured 7th position from Gil Gawk, completing the pass around the outside of turn 1, but Gawk is going to try to come back at him around the outside groove. Doesn't quite get there. In fact, opens up the door for his own teammate, Chuck Sweeting, to look up the inside.
Yeah, we're creeping up on the lap here. When lap out 15, we'll start seeing the times drop down. Well, it looks like Labrie's going to go to the inside of Johnson. He must got a great run, and Brian's checking up a little bit soon.
Oh!
Doing the crossover.
Slide job for Labrie. Didn't quite work for him. Brian Johnson going back to the point. Dan Shamoon looking to give Labrie a shove. Coming into turn number 3, trying to make sure he can hold the outside line where all the speed is. The 9 car stepping the back end now. Getting a bit twitchy there. Having to fight that Ford Mustang on corner exit. Does get the run of Brian Johnson, though. It might be over for Johnson's reign up in front.
Yeah, we've got the teammates there running nose to tail there. Brian Johnson definitely needs some help, and he needs to get to that high line because that low line, like I said, it's going to eat up those tires. So if he can get up there and clear and get it to the high line there, he's going to be okay. He just has to break up these teammates somehow.
Oh, nearly wipes out Justin Levine as he tried to tuck in line. I think got a bit loose off of turn 2 as well. No dice, though, for the number 4 machine. Tumbling down like a stone at the moment, all the way back to the Gator Racing crew. You see Souza trying to look up the inside to Justin Levine. Levine not allowing it, though. Going to continue to tuck in line with his teammates Shamoon and Labrie up in front.
Yeah, looks like Souza was almost left out to dry there, but he jumped back up on that high line. Brian Johnson has got to get to that high line. He is using up his equipment right now dramatically. He's getting no help. He's got absolutely no help, no partner today. We're in car with Brian Johnson. Let's see how he's handling that. So he finally gets back in line there. So now he can kind of breathe a little bit here. It's a little rough. If he can stay on that high line, he'll make up his time.
So Johnson currently tucked into the draft with Chuck Sweden just up the road. Sousa's down on Sweden. He's inside, hampering the number 53 car. Look at the head of steam that Johnson gains and has to lift off to avoid running over the 53 on corner entry. Now going to go to the inside, or attempt to at least. Can't quite find the opening, though. Sousa getting loose on the inside line. A little squirrely for the 29. That will allow Brian Johnson to easily retake 5th place.
Yeah, I don't think Brian's done. He's checking up quite a bit, so his hot rod wants to move. So he needs to get up to that high line and just keep pinching who's ever up there so they cannot come up and take that high line position away from him. If he doesn't break up Labrie, Shamoon, and Levine, the little dancing they got going up there, he's going to have a whole bunch of problems here. Oh, there we go. Somebody's diving on the inside there. He can hug that, hold it, that inside line. Don't let him back up into it. Oh, looks like he's going to push him through. He's going to push him. He wants back up in there. He's going to try to break these dance partners up.
Coming to 2 laps to go. Pit road closes this lap. Chuck Sweeting playing the good old phase-out dance over there in the middle of the field. Not a sight you ever want to see, especially when you're running up in front. A worrying sight, to say the least. Pit road now closed.
Well, I think we just seen one of the drivers disappear. I was up there in the top 5.
It was Sweeting.
Hey, here comes the dancing partners for Brian Johnson. He's got the 24 machine. Kenny Fowle's going to come up here and help him get back to the front of this thing. Oh, they are bobbing, weaving, and bobbing all over the place, Nolan.
We're at the point where if a caution comes out now, even before we get to that stage caution lap at the end of 20, it would end the stage by default, as the caution would take us over the stage finish line period. White flag is out. Labrie and Shamoon, the front line team, is clear out in front. The question is, they got the room to battle. Do they want to battle, though?
No, they're going to play the old teammate card, and they're going to stay together. They're not going to try to press their luck here. They want to get on pit road pretty clean, and they don't want to have any problems with fix. So, on and off clean is what the name of the game is tonight.
Back straightaway for the final time in stage number 1, already closing in on 1/5 of the way complete here in the Canterbury RV 200. Caught them behind. Oliveira gets shoved off the racetrack by Chris Johnson. The 48 car dooring him off at turn number 4. Off of the final corner. Kyle Labrie wins stage 1. Shamoon out-drags Justin Levine to the line, and Sweeney pips Levine as well.
Well, now we've got a whole different ball game. If G&G drivers can get out there with front lines, we're gonna see 2 teams battling. That's gonna be some fantastic fun. We've got, looks like we have the G&G drivers are roughly 8th, 9th, and 10th. And where is Chris? 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So if they can come out like that, that's pretty good. They just need to get in line on that high line, and they'll run up in the front pack easily.
Waiting on the field to catch up to the pace car. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more from Michigan International Speedway in just a few moments.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Welcome back with more here from Michigan International Speedway. Kyle Labrie, Stage 1 winner. The driver we'll be talking to just as soon as he finishes up his pit stop cycle here, Al. We were discussing this just into that last break. 4 tires on fuel seems to be a popular call.
Yeah, definitely. And some drivers may roll the dice here and maybe dump a little tape on it. Depends on if they're free off. They need to get more front grip. They may dump a little tape on this thing and roll the dice. If you're in clean air, you could probably run more than half your grill taped up and be just fine. But if you're not, you're in any kind of draft, you definitely do not want to have more than half your grill taped up. Otherwise, you could stand a chance of blowing up. Let's see how they roll off pit road here. Kyle Labrie comes in first. Dan Shamoon second, Chuck Sweeting third, Justin Levine fourth, Chad Sullivan fifth, John Mullins sixth, Souza seventh, Hoffman eighth, Eddie Powell ninth, and Brian Johnson rounds up the top 10.
First off, Brian Littleton of the 28 car, driving right through a pit row, missed his pit box. Unfortunately for the 28 machine, will no doubt have to come down again. Well, with this out, we'll talk a bit more on that here in just a moment about what will be happening up for our friend over there. But we're going to see if we can actually bring up our Stage 1 winner. Kyle Labrie joins us up in the broadcast booth. Kyle, this is Nolan Rampel up here. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy. How is it, Nolan?
It's doing very well. I understand you might be about to be 1 degree here, so we'll keep this short. Stage 1 win, obviously with the help of Dan Shamoon there. You think the plan is to help each other out to get that Stage 2 win?
I think we're going to play nice until the final stage. You might see us take some runs at each other, but I don't think you're going to be seeing anything overly aggressive here. Try to last to the last stage and then get to the final stage and go for the win.
Let's talk about Michigan as a whole. Obviously, very draft-heavy track. What's your take on it? Do you like this type of facility, or are you more accustomed to the shorter tracks?
I've typically been better on the momentum tracks, 1.5 mile, 2 mile like Michigan. This track just, you got to be real patient, pick your runs. Short track is just a different type of monster, but I would definitely say that I'm better at these momentum tracks than I am at the stop and goes.
Well, then here's to hoping here, Kyle, that with you being so strong, those momentum tracks, you go through and potentially pick up a Stage 2 victory. Anybody like to shout out your frontline number 9 before we let you go?
Everybody at Frontline, I know Dan Shamoon and the boys, they put a lot of laps in on this. Definitely thank a Bruzy for having their name on the car. Hopefully we can get them a sweep here with the Stage 2 and a victory at the end.
Thank you, Kyle, for taking the time to come on up here and join us at the broadcast booth. We'll move you back down to your Frontline channel. Best of luck in the Stage number 2.
All right, thank you, boys.
So that was Kyle Labrie, Frontline Racing's Stage 1 winner, trying to go back-to-back. Dan Shamoon starting alongside him on the front row here, Al. Should be a fun race.
Yeah, teammates, what will happen is whoever's got the low line will probably get a good lead here. And I believe we'll see Dan Shamoon kind of just back it off just a little bit and try to get behind him. You want the train to run on the high line. Looks like we have G&G drivers come out 6th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and one sitting 14th. If these guys can all muster themselves together, they can train themselves right to the front of this thing and take this race over. And then we'll give Frontline a little bit of a race. We'll find out if we go green this time by.
Pace car pulls down to pit road. This time round is in the hands of Kyle Labrie. Labrie launches early. We are back underway for Stage number 2 of Michigan International Speedway. Both frontline drivers are clear and away. You can definitely tell that they timed that one out coming down to the turn number 1.
Oh, absolutely. They've got radio chatter between each other, and they need it to be nose to tail. They want to see the drivers behind them side by side because that's going to give them the ability to pull away from them.
This is an interesting run here, Al. Should be a fun one throughout the course of tonight. Hearing word that there may have, in fact, been a problem with some of the drivers under the penalty. Sounds like Brian Littleton got a penalty for passing under yellow when he was the one that got passed up.
Well, he was also, didn't he have some problems on pit road? I think he might have got
Yes, sir.
a penalty for passing under yellow in the pits.
He was in the lead. He couldn't have gotten the penalty. He couldn't have passed anybody but the pace car, and he didn't pass the pace car. I'm mystified about that one as you are, Al.
Yeah, I would have to go back and watch and see what happened here. I'm patiently watching to see what these drivers are doing now.
Oh, look out for Kyle Labrie getting real sideways out of turn number 4. Manages to hang on to it, but only just giving Shamoon the opportunity to pounce.
Yeah, this front of this race is getting really racy now. We've got the teams, 2 different teams that are bundling up together here. I do see G&G has invited themselves to the party, so let's see if they give Frontline a run for their money.
Brian Littleton has come down pit road to serve his apparent penalty out there on the racetrack. Looks like it was a stop and go for Brian Littleton. Unfortunate for the number 28 car was doing so well. That's a big shame for the 28 car. Good news is he still has another stage that he can use to try to get that spot back.
Well, that's those penalties like that early on in the stage of this race. As long as he doesn't go a lap down, he should be just fine.
Unfortunately, he might be going a lap down here. He just now exited pit road on the backstretch, and here comes the field trying to run him down. Currently just about a fifth of a mile up the road, and the field's closing in fast. Further down the order, Jeffrey Souza making his way up 2 spots, getting past both Brian Johnson and Kenny Powell to blaze his way into the top 10, trying to run down John Mullins as well.
Yeah, looks like Kenny Powell shut the door on that activity here. He's got the rear bumper full of Brian Johnson, who led this race earlier. These guys just need to get nose to tail and stay out of trouble. And this is probably what we're seeing right now. They're just going to use this second stage as maybe a practice stage to see what adjustments they need to make for their final stage of this race.
There you can see Brian Littleton on the outside line, the blue car with the red rear bumper, currently dropping back through the field. Side by side for the lead as well between frontline teammates. Levine versus Shamoon to take that top spot with Chuck Sweeting just in behind.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to use this lap down car as kind of a drafting partner. They abandoned him there. It looks like they were trying to use him as kind of a drafting partner there. Kenny Powell was, as he goes and does a slide job on him. And Brian Johnson is going to try to push the 29 car up there as far as he can go to get past this lap car.
Levine takes the race lead officially. Dan Shamoon dropping back down to second place, trying to fight Chuck Sweeting to see if he can just barely hang on. Sweeting also under fire from Chad Sullivan behind. Look out for points leader Clayton Hoffman working his way through the order. Gonna go 3 wide down the inside for Hoffman. Labrie punching through on the outside in the run down to turn number 1. Sullivan bails out from the middle, and wisely at that for the number 21.
Yeah, you can do everything you can do right on that inside, but the draft from the low line and the high line pushing on your car will get you squirrely. You don't want to be in the middle of that pinballing around.
Looks like things are going to settle down a little bit now that the battle for the lead is kind of stabilized. It's only really up for grabs now here in the lower portions of the field, including the likes of Wachinski, Gawk, and Brian Littleton. He got still in the mix here, trying to struggle as he continues to go a lap down. Further up the road, you've got Matthew McMeekin and Brian Johnson side by side. Sullivan, Souza, and Powell all looking to go side by side as well, with John Mullins just up the road about to be under fire as well.
Now, these guys have to get nose to tail here. If they get nose to tail, they'll make that high line move, and they'll catch that front back that is kind of slowly pulling away.
Sullivan washing wide. That opens the door for Souza down the inside line. McMinkin thought about 3 wide up the middle, decided not to go for it. Brian Johnson, in turn, thought about 3 wide down the low side, but once again, the 4 car having the common sense to stick this one in line and maybe tough this one out. But look at how much Sullivan is pinching in that number 4 car, trying to keep him pinned on the inside line, and it's working.
Yeah, that's how you make the inside line driver use up his tires. So definitely not a move that Brian Johnson wants to keep doing lap after lap after lap. Otherwise, he's going to get extremely loose. He's gonna have to have a push in the low line, but everybody's going to go to the high side. Looks like his brother Chris is going to jump behind him here and kind of help him out a little bit and get past that 41 machine.
Battle is on for the lead once more. Shamoon down the inside of Justin Levine. Gonna slide up in front of the nose. Slide job for the 23 car. Levine gonna go for the over-under. And alley-oops back down the inside of the back straight away. Going a bit extra defensive against Kyle Labrie as well. Well, you remember when Kyle Labrie was mentioning that we're gonna play nice? It doesn't look that way from where I'm sitting at the moment.
Well, you know what that's doing? If you see Hoffman, he is loving what he's seeing. He is gonna pick one of these guys. And once he gets in front of the 3rd place car here, he is going to abandon him. He's going to go to the lead here in about 2 laps. Clayton Hoffman should take the lead here roughly in about 2 laps.
Maybe not, though. Levine going to fight the outside line again. Now going to work with his front line teammate, Dan Shamoon. Hoffman clears, but not for long. Here comes Chuck Sweeting. Going to go up the inside as well. All of a sudden, Hoffman goes from 2nd place all the way back to 4th.
That may have been by design. He sees he has a teammate back here, and as soon as that 24 machine of Kenny Powell can get a hold of him, they may push each other drastically. Here we go, another swap for the lead here.
Levine back down the inside of Dan Shamoon. These 2 drivers not giving each other a break. Shamoon gonna go with the crossover again off of turn number 2. This time, the Levine has a bit more speed up in front, so Shamoon will not be able to pull ahead as easily. Down to the turn number 3. Can he maybe dime it off this corner? Don't think he'll be able to. Levine's going to get another crossover as they go through 4.
These guys are swapping. Here we go again to the inside. We're just swapping the lead here back and forth. These guys behind them, they have to start to figure out who do we go with here. Do we stay on the high side or do we go with the low side? Now, let those guys in the front there go back and forth like that. They're going to use up their equipment pretty fast.
Levine has to lift off to avoid getting the outside wall. Shamoon back down to the inside. It's like they're pretty much playing tag here at the moment. Neither one of these guys are acting like they want to stay up in the front. Chuck Sweeney's going to go down the inside now of Justin Levine. Further behind, Kyle Labrie getting a little nudged out by Jeffrey Souza in the middle of this. All this battle is allowing this pack of cars all the way back to 9th to close on up. Tell you what, the battle for the lead could be under some serious fire soon. Unless, of course, we just saw at the end of it, Chuck Sweeting down the inside of Levine into turn 1.
Well, you also might, I just thought about this. Remember I mentioned something about dumping some tape? You might have Shamoon and Sweeting and maybe even Levine that dumped a little tape on this car, and they need to swap positions because their cars are overheating a little bit.
Unfortunately, it's not doing either of them any good. They're just falling further and further down into the clutches of the rest of the field. You see Souza trying to work on Kenny Powell, has to back out a bit before he hits the outside wall. Still enough, though, to get a great drive all the way down this front straightaway, utilizing the draft. Sweeting abandoned on the inside line.
Yeah, that inside line is not your friend. I mean, that outside line is where the draft is happening. Kenny Powell has done a tremendous run tonight. He's moved himself up into 3rd place. He needs to have some teammates. Otherwise, a dancing partner. He might have a dancing partner. Maybe with Sweeting. I don't know. We'll see. No, he's going to abandon him and go to the low line and try to make an excellent, great run Sweeting's got on the low line there. If he can do the crossover and step right in front of Powell, he'll take that position easily.
I'll tell you what, this is some high-quality racing that we're seeing at the moment from Michigan International Speedway so far. Minimal contact between everybody in the field. The only caution so far has been for a stage very much unlike the last 2 road courses that we've been seeing, where there was localized yellows galore throughout the last 2 weeks. Not the case, though. here at Chicago, or not Chicago Motor Speedway, Michigan International Speedway.
Yeah, you can see it's like the same song, different channel here. That high line where you want to be at definitely does not look. Oh, look at the breed. You see some on that wheel there. Anyways, the low line on Kenny Powell almost takes up the front end of the 29 there. He's going to get third place back. It looks like we dove down. Anyways, got off track there. The high side is where you want to be. The low line is not where you want to be. Now, it makes it look like it's where you want to be, but there's a lot of crossing over. You lose the momentum when you're on the low line. You may get the position for a minute, but then somebody's going to cross over, as we've seen several times here already, and they're going to get that position back.
Coming to 4 laps to go in stage number 2. Stage N coming up on lap number 45. Pit road closes at the end of lap 43, going on to 44. So there's not a lot of time left at all for some of these drivers to want to make moves if they want to try to go for that stage win.
Yeah, they're nose to tail, and that 29 is still holding strong in that low line. Which is
Caution's out! That ends the stage!
What do we have, a wreck?
Paul Olsen, Randy Drumhiller getting involved. Randy Drumhiller big time collected in this one. Looks as though this was collected with Eduardo Oliveira, Gil Gawk, and more. A big crash over in turn number 2.
Well, they're running pretty tight together, and it doesn't take much but a little bit of a slip to take out 4 or 5 cars. Fortunate for them, we've been noticing that during the week in the A Opens, you can have some damage on your car here and still not really affect your momentum unless you're down on horsepower.
Now, the crucial thing to remember here, Al, is because of the rule where if the caution comes out closer to the stage end, the stage is complete. This means that stage 1 is effectively over, and Dan Shamoon is your stage winner over Justin Levine. Which will mean Kenny Powell, I believe, will take 3rd, Sweetigan 4th, Souza 5th, Labrie 6th, John Mullins in 7th, with Chad Sullivan 8th, Hoffman 9th, Brian Johnson rounding out the top 10 in stage 2. Well, we'll take another quick step away here. We'll be back with more in just a few moments from Michigan International Speedway.
Tonight's race is sponsored by Canterbury RV. For more than 30 years, Canterbury has been building high-quality havens that blend the simple life with the good life. They offer folks the chance to outfit their RVs where the possibilities are as boundless as the great outdoors itself. Swing by and check out Canterbury RV today. Canterbury RV is operated by DNA Enterprises Incorporated, located at 2470 East Kircher Road, Goshen, Indiana. Or give them a call today at area code 574-534-0034 and get started on your dream home in the outdoors.
Yellow flag pit stops underway under this stage 2 caution. We'll bring Dan Shamoon up shortly here, Al, but not the way we wanted to see stage 2 end, unfortunately.
No, that was pretty eventful. It took out some cars here. I don't know what kind of damage they have, but like I said, they may not be hurt too much. They may be able to still run competitively.
Well, now the yellow flag pit stops are complete. We'll give the spotlight here to Dan Shamoon, joining us up after stage 2 concluded early. Al, why don't you take our stage 2 winner?
Mr. Shamoon, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Well, I mean, we're not doing as good as you are. You are our stage 2 winner. Congratulations there.
Yeah, thank you. It was it's kind of fun right there.
Looks like there's some back and forth racing between you and Levine. Is that by design or?
No, no, he's trying to take a win from me, and so I'm trying to hold him off. So yeah, we're battling.
That's a good thing. That makes for some great racing. We do appreciate that much. Go ahead and let's give some shout outs to some of your teammates, maybe somebody that helped you put that car together.
Man, everyone at Frontline, like we actually put a lot of time and effort into this car. We were trying to see if we can build a Michigan car that can keep keep up with the top guys in iRacing, and we were pretty successful in doing so. So shout out to everybody who helped put this set together. Brooks, guys that ran laps, Kyle, Jeff Chandler, you name it, man. So yeah, no, it was good.
Well, we definitely aren't going to ask you for any trade secrets here, but this is the last stage we've got, and you're going to have to do maybe a green flag pit stop. Is it going to be an early pit, or?
You'll have to wait and see.
That's what I was hoping for, buddy. Well, go back in behind the wheel, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was Frontline Racing's Dan Shamoon, Stage 2 winner. Doing a great job, as always, behind the wheel. So because of that early caution, Stage 3 goes green when Stage 2 out should have gone yellow. Giving us about a 3-4 lap extension on Stage 3.
Yeah, they basically can go roughly about 40 laps before they're going to have to come in and get tires. So they may split this up. They may go all the way to the 40 laps out, which would only give them about 15 laps to finish this thing. Or if there's an earlier caution, they may take tires in. They don't want to take tires any sooner than right around about lap 60.
Pace car once again in pit road. Dan Shamoon, your current race leader. He is holding the field here, Al. Waiting almost at the restart zone. Now the green flag drops, and we're back on the way with more from Michigan.
Yeah, he got too much of a jump there. If that's going to allow second and third place, if they can get nose to tail, they're going to take the lead from him rather fast. I've seen that move way too many times. If you jump too soon like that, I've actually done it myself, it gives a momentum for the cars behind you to just fire right past you.
To be fair, Labrie went much earlier on the Stage 2 restart, and he was out there for some time. Thankfully, he had teammates behind to help him out with that one.
Well, looks like we've got a good side-by-side. We've got the high line and the low line all bunched together here, so this should be some good racing.
It's always the case when you get to these restarts at a track like this. It's not uncommon to be seen double file for several laps in a row. It's usually an entertaining sight to see, to say the very least, and that's exactly what we're being treated to here today. You got about third place all the way back, right about 15th, all in a blanket. You see the front line drivers pulling way up in front. Oh my word! One turn onto the apron. Chris Johnson scrambles down. Heath Schneider having to scurry to the apron after being doored by Kyle Labrie mid straightaway.
Definitely are in avoidance mode right now because you want to be there at the end. So that's that was a good move. Nobody got taken out. I mean, you lost a little momentum, but you can gain it back.
Losing a couple spots and some momentum is always better than having a wrecked race car. I always say you can always go back and get it, especially since we're not even at halfway yet in this 100 lap, 200 mile race. Oh, trouble behind. Grossi spins round. Caution to number. Can't speak today. Caution number 3 on the back straightaway. Michael Grant caught up as well in this. Looks to me, Al, like Wayne Grossi just got a bit too antsy. Maybe even Grant pushed up in front of Oliveira. That's actually what it looks like. Have Michael Grant pushed up in front of Oliveira, took out Grossi as an innocent bystander. I want to get a ride aboard with Brian Littleton as well if we can, because good Lord, the save. After being rear-ended by one of the other drivers of Paul Regni as he was darting his way through. There's the wreck on your screens.
Boy, that happened, I mean, right to the back bumper of Paul Olsen. He has no idea how lucky he got there.
Here's Brian Littleton. We'll take a look on board with him if we can for this incident. Fully power sliding that thing sideways, trying to see if he can break his way through. I mean, what a run for the 28 car. Take a look at this one out on board. You'll see the wreck start to unfold up in front. Right there's the contact into the outside wall, and here's Littleton. Look at the wheel work.
That was great job. Great job. Anything to avoid that melee and mess.
He did get hit up the rear by Regni, but it could have been a lot worse as he almost went straight forward into Gil Gawk, who was also trying to avoid him just up the road.
Now, I highly doubt anybody with no damage is going to pit right now. I mean, they could.
You say that? Levine just pitted. Got faked out by his own teammate.
He can't make it to the end. I don't know what he's thinking.
I think he honestly just got faked out. A mistake. I mean, Shamoon came down at the last second, darted out, and Levine was right behind him. I honestly think that was unintentional from Justin Levine.
Well, what that did for Dan Shamoon is kind of left him out high and dry because he doesn't have a dancing partner up there now. I think Frontline's separated pretty good, aren't they?
That they are. You've got Dan Shamoon up in first place, yes, but I mean, I believe that the next frontline driver is all the way back in 11th, and it's Kyle Labrie. The frontline guys are running 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in stage 1. I don't know how they managed to get so split up over the course of these last several laps. It's not good news, though, for Shamoon, who has no help behind him.
Well, that's definitely exactly what the rest of the field wants to do. They want to split those guys up because they're pretty strong together.
Oh, absolutely they are. And, I mean, I tell you what, it's been a good race so far, and if draft tracks are your thing, well, you're going to want to come around next week as well. It'll be the last race in the regular season for the Super Cup Series season, which has been going on all year so far throughout 2021. And it is also worth noting that that race, the finale to decide the playoffs, is being held at Daytona International Speedway. Could you ask for any other track where anything can happen to decide this?
That's the mother lode right there. That's a track that has been unpredictable. And when the wrecks happen there, and they will happen, they are huge, and they take out a good chunk of the field. So I just can't wait for that.
Now, that being said, Al, of course, you have to remember there is a new traffic package in iRacing now that makes it extremely difficult to open up an outside lane before you can make up. We're talking 10, 15, 20 positions all by yourself on a single car run for getting the draft. Now, you realistically need at least 4 or 5 cars to even break 200 miles an hour. It's insane how powerful the draft is. A track that outside of half a tenth, you're not hanging on to that draft, buddy. So, I don't know. It'll be an interesting race, especially since it's going to be so much different from the last time we were there.
Yeah, Nolan, I may run that race and broadcast from the car. We'll see how that happens. I was going to do this race here, but it's got a pretty strong field, and I didn't want to interfere with anybody's point.
We'll be coming around to take the green flag this next time by. Should be an entertaining restart. We are now just past halfway. It'll be 49 to go when we take the green.
What that inside line has to do is they really have to stay really close to Dan Shamoon there and his bumper when he takes off. And that way they can get the momentum they're going to need. And hopefully we'll break that high line.
It'll be in the hands of Dan Shamoon once more. He held off the storm behind him on the last restart for Stage 3, but he had a teammate to help him. Not the case this time round. Pace car down to pit road. Powell is wanting to go. Shamoon holds the field just now. Gets the launch. Wheel spin further behind. 3 wide already coming to the line. Chris Johnson getting past Austin Greer as they cross the line. With Greg Wachinski looking around the outside line for 3 wide down to the turn number 1. Huge checker deeper in the field with Heath Schneider trying to find the inside as well.
Yeah, we're going to go 3 wide for second here. Look at that. 3 wide. Boy, Kenny Powell has to check up a little bit. He does not want to be involved in that.
I don't blame him. John Mullins is checking up as well, which is slowing both of them down. So it's disaster among John Mullins and Kenny Powell, who both lose 3-4 spots apiece. All that chaos has allowed Shamoon to actually get a sizable gap up in front. The problem is he's got nobody that wants to help him maintain that gap, trying to run him down.
Yeah, I can't believe he's got that much of a gap of a lead. These guys need to get themselves together here on the high line, and they'll catch him really quick. Well, it looks like we've got G&G drivers that are coming up here, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Let's see if they partner together and run this thing up to the front.
Powell, Hoffman, Johnson, Sullivan, all under a blanket, diving through turns 3 and 4. Chad Sullivan at the tail end of this 4-car scrap, trying to run down Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson tucking in with G&G teammate Kenny Powell, shoving him down the front straightaway. 197 miles an hour down to the turn number 1. Clean off turn 2. Hoffman is going to be left. Hoffman's going to leave Johnson out to dry, who drops back 3 spots in just the span of 1 straightaway. It's a breakaway out in front still, with Dan Shamoon still clear by some gap over Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like teamwork to me there. It looked like Kenny Powell used the 4 machine to get up as far as he can, and then he bailed on him, went to the high side, leaving no opportunity for Brian Johnson to get to the high side.
And you can still see Johnson is struggling with this thing on the inside line. Now trying to keep Heath Schneider at bay, trying to pinch the 8 front line machine up. It's just not working, though. I mean, Johnson is going further and further back. Goal! Almost gets into with Austin Greer. Shoves the 45 car offline for turn 3. Now look at this 4 car just tumbling down the timing screens. Joe Gauck goes by. Wachinski will no doubt be by the time they get back around to the back straightaway.
Yeah, I'm just not figuring it out. I can't see. We've got Chris Johnson's got his brother that's not giving him any help, and another teammate. We got Greg Wachinski's not really giving him any help, not letting him get in there. I mean, it's not understanding what the game plan is. What makes Frontline so successful at this track is they work as a team, and they give a little bit of take, and they make sure they set their teammate up for success. That's how you're going to be able to win this.
It's a fast-paced race, this at Michigan. You can tell just how quickly spots are swapping back and forth all throughout this race. I dare to say, Al, we're going to be seeing more position swapping in this race than we will at Daytona next week, where single-file racing could end up being what we're accustomed to.
We're definitely not going to see this next. Those guys are going to be nose to tail. They're going to stay that way. Many laps.
Oh, yes. Enjoy while you can. It's great stuff to watch. I mean, this is why, to this day, Michigan International Speedway remains one of my favorite tracks in sim racing. I mean, I have not seen a boring race at Michigan ever. I think one of the biggest races out that really secured this track is still great to me was a couple of years ago in the Coca-Cola eNASCAR series when they were 5 wide for the race lead down the back straightaway on the last lap.
Oh, absolutely. You can run 4 wide pretty easy, but 5, somebody had to be in the drive. Oh, looks like somebody got a little loose there.
Oh, I just want to say they absolutely were. They were 2 cars on the apron. they were going full send on that last lap. Side by side for the lead. Souza looking for the inside of Dan Shamoon. The 23 car has been caught. Souza working the bottom line. Dan Shamoon still doing a great job with defense on the outside line.
Yeah, Shamoon definitely has a setup underneath him in that car because he can run the low line, the high line, and he's blocking like a madman up there, and he's not getting loose.
Kenny Powell currently deeper in this field as well. Looks down the inside of Chuck Sweeting. Powell's been slowly hunting his way through. He is going to now go down the inside and try to pick up 3rd place from the 53 Gator Racing Machine. Hoffman's looking to dance as well. Going to follow Powell down the inside of Sweeting into turn 3. That 92 car, Al, has been hunting. And remember, Hoffman started further back in the field. We're talking midfield, 12th place. And he needs to finish good if he wants to maintain his...
Yeah, they need to get... Now, if Powell bails on Hoffman like he did Brian Johnson earlier, that's going to drop his teammate back. So he needs to stay down there with him. And he does. He leaves him out to dry there. So he's going to have to go back down and grab him before the rest of the field comes off. we're getting almost the point here, Nolan, where you can actually make it to the end on field. So if somebody was to come in and do an early pit next 10 laps, might not be that bad of an idea. Let's look at the lap time of our leader. Well, we got Kenny Powell. He's going to try to go to the inside. He wants second place. He's going to get second place. Kenny Powell may, well, he went up high and he abandoned somebody there again. So let's see if he can come down to the low line and pick up his dancing partner. And he does not. It's like Kenny Powell is going to try to battle for the lead. He is right on the bumper of Shamoon. He is not giving him any breathing room.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I think I should be back fully now. Like you said, Kenny Powell trying to run down Dan Shamoon, and you got yourself guys still battling right in behind with Sullivan, Hoffman, and Souza all under a blanket and all trying to run down Dan Shamoon, who, I'm going to be honest now, I'm impressed that the 23 cars managed to keep the field at bay for this long.
Yeah, he definitely didn't have any dancing partners with him, and they're still back there quite a ways. But a lot of the other teams, their partners are scattered throughout the field as well.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I'm looking at Chad Sullivan. You just saw there squeezing John Mullins into the outside wall and nearly running the 64 fully into it. Mullins going to repay the favor, pinching the 21 down, not letting him get the line he needs off of turn number 4. John Mullins finally gets clear of Chad Sullivan, and it is now going to be clear to try to run down the top 5 in front of him. As these battles continue to shape on up, how about we go back to Heath Schneider here? We'll take a ride on board with him, and we'll give our voice a little bit of a rest. Enjoy some of this butt kicker, crank it up from Michigan International Speedway. Kenny Powell to the inside of Dan Shamoon, trying to go over the race lead. Can G&G's Kenny Powell find himself up in the lead for the first time in some time? Looks like he just might.
Yeah, he has to get a dancing partner, and here comes that 9 machine going to help. Ellie's just a slide job on him. He's going to take that lead this time by, yeah.
Just by 6th thou ahead, though, at the line. It's not by much. Shamoon's going to be on the inside now, but Powell is still there, right at his right rear quarter panel. Shamoon pushing up. That forces Powell wide, but the 24 car still has a big head of steam down the back straightaway.
Now, looks like Kenny Powell's got some dancing partners on the high side here. If everybody can stay with him, that would help him. But they're all just backing down to the low line, and that kind of helps Shamoon.
Powell
right about
getting
now, you need a dancing partner. And Kenny Powell's whole teammates are in the back. How they got there, I don't know.
Looks like Powell's going to try the inside again, though. The 24 car not giving up. Down the inside of Dan Shamoon, but he's about to find out just why that inside line does not work at all. Sure enough, Shamoon back to the point, easily.
Well, here comes Clayton Hoffman back into the mix of this thing, and it looks like he may get up there and help his G&G teammate, Kenny Powell, and See if he can get him back to the lead. Kenny Powell gets extremely loose. He's going to lose
coming to
several
pit.
positions. No, he got
Oh, he
loose.
is. I thought he was coming up pit. Good catch, Al. I thought he was pitting in. Good call on that one. Going for first place all the way back to 9th for Powell.
That's what happens when you're in that inside line.
Now, we are right within that window where you can come down to pit road and be able to easily make it through to the end of this race. So I think a lot of these guys out there at the moment, they're just wanting to run these tanks out until they're empty.
Yeah, you may want to come in and just get a splash, but you're still going to get all 4 tires. So, I mean, I don't think I would fill my tank because that weight, you don't really want it to make get your car unstable. So I think they're going to try to run this out, maybe put like 5 or 6 gallons in there and then get all 4 tires maybe.
It's an idea to be sure. This will be an interesting one here to see how this will take shape. Clayton Hoffman getting clear of Chad Sullivan, sliding in between himself and Kyle Labrie down to the turn number 3. Labrie looking for the outside line maybe around John Mullins.
We're definitely looking like we're going to have some green flag pit stops here, and they're probably going to come within 10 laps.
Or even 1. Gil Gawk coming down to pit road, the first of the takers to do so from this lead lap group. This came from the second train headed up by Wayne Grossi. I'm sure now, Al, it's only a matter of time.
Now, you definitely do not want to pit by yourself solo, so Gil Gawk kind of shot himself in the foot there. Let's see what happens. And I could be wrong. I mean, I've been known to be wrong many times in this broadcast. I always pick to win the race, and it never happens. So Gil Gawk, that might be a brilliant move. I don't know. Let's see how it unfolds.
It's an interesting call, isn't it? Because, I mean, you got to consider that while on the one hand, oh my gosh, smoke out from John Mullins. Trying to, like, put on a smoke show there. Was hard on the brakes, locking up the left front all the way down to the pit entry lane. But going back to what I was saying, now, it's a difficult factor trying to balance this, right? I mean, in the draft, you're very good, you know, on the front and back straight, but that means you're also dealing with a lot of dirty air in all the turns.
Well, yeah, no, we got to remember, fresh tires are going to run you about 2 seconds a lap faster than these tires. These guys have 30-plus lap time. So
That too.
to pit early like this is kind of a genius move. It depends on how. Looks like we're going to have Clayton Hoffman's going to come on pit road. He's going to pit. He's going to bring a lot of the drivers with him.
Chad Sullivan down, Powell down, Brian Johnson down, Chris Johnson down, Wachinski is in as well. Total of another group of 6 down to the lane. Majority of the second pack stays out, while the first pack has been split up big time. Austin Greer making the call. He's coming in this time.
What that's going to do is it's going to leave the frontline drivers out there on older tires. That could play a factor in this race. I mean, obviously they're going to put these guys a lap down, but when they pit, I don't know if they're going to be far enough ahead to get them the great advantage that they need as they come down pit road right now. It looks like Dan Shamoon's going to come down. Sweeting's going to come down. Sozel's going to come down. Kyle Labrie, they're all coming down pit road right now. Nope, I'm taking that back. Sweeting is going to stay out. He's going to roll the dice. That is definitely not going to work for Austin Greer, Regney, and McMeekin and Sweeting. Now, he's only got 25 laps on these tires. They must have pitted earlier, too. Littleton's got 26 laps. Everybody else has got 31 to 32 laps on the tires.
Chuck Sweeting makes the call. He's coming in this time by to come down the pit road, and that will just about conclude everybody out there that's still on fresh tires. I believe McMeekin, you said, was still out there on old tires as well?
Yeah, the 41 machine, he should take the lead here. I think he was on older tires as well. Paul Olson was also on some older tires. The only way this could benefit them is if there is a wreck. If there's a wreck, very smart move staying out. But if there's not a wreck, this lead pack here that's already taken tires is going to come to the field like lightning.
Currently, it is Matthew McMeekin that's out on old tires, along with Brian Littleton, Roy Hyde, Paul Olson, and Robert Pattengale. Sweeting on back.
There's a wreck.
Oh, no! Chad Sullivan gets caught up in this one with Dan Shamoon. Oh, no! Well, that's going to really help out guys like Littleton and more.
Yeah, that definitely was a smart move for them. They're going to be out there and they're going to be able to pit and stay their position because those other guys have to get a wave around. It looked like the 21 might have thought he was clear, and he went right up on Dan Shamoon and basically took himself out.
Oh my gosh. And the drivers arguing over on the radio as to who's at fault. And I know we're supposed to be impartial, Alvin. I mean, Sullivan wasn't clear. Shamoon held his line, and he just got turned across. There was nothing Shamoon could do there.
He got Shamoon. I mean, you cannot go up there and expect Dan Shamoon to lift. He's not going to lift. You got to be clear. You better make sure you're clear before you do a slide job on him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds like Sullivan might have thought he was clear. And don't get me wrong, the spotter making a bad call like that is not unheard of. But, I mean, I would have thought he would have known he would still be there. I mean, it's a tough one.
Well, the problem is the draft is so strong. He might have been clear for a millisecond, but he missed the window of opportunity.
He never was.
He never was clear. Because I was watching the in-car with Dan Shamoon. It looked like he might have been clear for a millisecond, but then Dan Shamoon got the momentum pull that pulled him up there and closed out his window. But he still got to climb through it. And the window got slammed. I mean, so this is what happens. It just ruined both their races.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. He never was clear. It was really close. So we're talking like maybe 3 inches he wasn't clear by. But that's all it takes. And Sullivan just had to learn that the hard way.
Well, with iRacing, you do not want to take a chance. If you're not fully clear, you better make sure you don't stick it over there because netcode can take you out. Netcode is a computer-generated issue that iRacing has not been able to figure out how to fix yet, that it will assume that you've made contact. And the assumption will wreck you. So that's what they call netcode, and it happens more prevalently on tracks like this. So I don't know, do you think we had a netcode issue, or was that definitely not clear? You shouldn't have done that move.
A bit of both. It was partially netcode, but they would have hit anyway. Under caution, once again, from Michigan International Speedway. I don't know why I keep making that mistake. We will take a quick step away, and we'll be back with more in just a few moments for the last 20 laps. Back underway, or about to be back underway. John Mullins now takes the lead for the first time all race long as a result of all the calamities right in the pit stop window. It is now a 21-lap sprint to decide the Canterbury RV 200 at Michigan International Speedway. Pace car pulls down the pit road. Mullins, true and clearly, clear of the field. Levine and Hoffman duking it out behind him. Way into turn number 1. Keith Schneider going to pick up third place from Justin Levine. Clayton Hoffman Going to be losing now from second place. Back to fourth around the outside line. He has the advantage, though, that the outside line is where you want to be late into a run. For the lead, though, Justin Levine down the inside of one John Mullins, and will retake the race lead with 20 to go. Oh, my gosh. And Hoffman is getting aggressive with Heath Schneider. Those two drivers getting so close you can barely fit a sheet of paper in between them off of turn number 4. Blazing down towards turn 1 at well over 190 miles an hour. The speed these guys are reaching is absolutely insane. You got just behind Schaffner and Chuck Sweeting looking to do battle. Sweeting wins over Schaffner. Schaffner can tuck back in line. So we're single file for now, but that's not going to last very long in the front grouping with under 20 to go. Oh, hard to the wall behind them. An identical cut what happened last time. McMeekin into the inside wall, into the infield, trying to clear himself from Josh Schaffner in a mere replica of what happened to bring out our last caution. No caution flag yet. Looks like there will not be one. Oh, that's not a good situation, though. I mean, McMeekin tried to clear himself from Schaffner, and it just didn't work. Schaffner was not about to lift, and ouch. Hard head to the outside wall, and oh my gosh, Brian. Got to get a look on board of that 28 machine if we can, because good grief. I mean, Brian Littleton has had so many close calls, and that might just take the cake.
Yeah, he's definitely cautions breed caution scenarios we got here. Nolan, Mr.
No
Littleton.
caution for that one. It just happened to be the same thing that happened the last time.
Hey, great. He's seen it happen. He's like, whoop. Yeah, that's a pretty good run right there.
Oh my. The drama, I guess you could say, continues. McMeekin obviously down to pit road. Austin Greer coming in as well this time by. That's really split up the field as a result of that mess. Chris Johnson in 9th place is the last driver at the tail end of the lead lap battle here, with Brian Johnson and Kyle Labrie side by side down the front stretch.
Yeah, we've got Clayton Hoffman. He's going to try to get to that high side and take second place away from Snyder. That was my pick to win tonight. Is Heath Snyder. He's doing a really good job sitting himself in second, looking like he's going to try to battle for the lead.
You never know how that the winning curse might be beaten today. Levine cuts off his teammate, though, and Heath Schneider has to tuck back in line and is going to try to run down just Levine now. Unfortunately, loses it up to Kyle Labrie. I think that front-end damage he got early in the race. Oh, as he clears himself from Hoffman, it's definitely hurting him, Al. You can tell he is struggling in that number 8 car.
Yeah, that was definitely looking like that was going to be a Shamoon incident right there. I didn't know if he was clear or not, but he made it clear. And maybe Hoffman just kind of checked up a little bit here.
I think Hoffman definitely did Heath Schneider a huge favor there by allowing him to kind of walk free on that one.
Well, if my eyes are not deceiving me, I'm seeing 4 G&G drivers up here in the top 10, and they are nose to tail. So this might get a little interesting right now. We've got Clayton Hoffman, Kenny Powell, Brian Johnson, and Chris Johnson all on this high line right here. These guys can hook up. They're going to overtake this front line and give them something to work out.
Brian Johnson passes up Chuck Sweeting. Oh, gets turned by Chuck Sweeting. Oh, my word. Did he actually just get away with that? I think he did. Amazing save from Brian Johnson.
Never skipped a beat. That was a Code Brown moment. He was perpendicular to the track, completely sideways, and just held it. I mean, amazing wheel work there. He got a little turn, he got a little swirly, straightened it back up, and never skipped a beat.
Cat-like reflexes, not overcorrect there. As soon as the car started to shoot sideways, he jerked that wheel hard right, and as soon as it straightened back out, immediately jerked it back to the left to get that car turned in again. Great driving there from Brian Johnson to make sure that didn't end up worse than it was.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's got that rear end planted there because any other driver would have spun that completely around.
Amazing stuff we're seeing here. And I mean, I tell you what, if this is the sort of racing that you like to see, and I tell you what, it's the racing we like to see, then you should definitely continue to come on back with us. We would love to spend Thursday nights with you for more stock car action just like this. Easy way you'll be able to get back is by, of course, hitting the good old like and subscribe button and You'll be notified whenever this series goes live. Goodness gracious, there's not usually a race that you want to miss.
No, we have the same professional races week after week after week here. These guys, as you can see, are wheelmen. I mean, they know how to drive those cars. Unfortunately, that little hiccup for Brian Johnson in that 4 machine has dropped him away from that top back of the field there. So they're going to have to get nose to tail here in order to catch back up. Fight for a chance to win this thing. They've only got 13 laps left.
Hoffman and Powell looking to do battle side by side down the front straightaway. G&G teammates going at it just behind John Mullins. The battle for the lead is starting to honestly almost split apart as well. You got the frontline team as Levine and Kyle Labrie up in front, and then Hugh Schneider kind of playing the cushion at the moment, you could say. Back to the field behind, slowing up the guys with the dirty draft, and it's making it easier and easier for the top 2 to start to pull away.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to try to battle side by side. You'll get pulled back, and it looks like that's exactly what's going on here with Hoffman and Paul. If they get side by side, they're gonna lose. I mean, one of them might gain a position, but they've got to stay nose to tail. And this might have been done by design, because they're talking, their teammates. Hoffman might have been heating up a little bit, and Powell's like, "Here, I'll get in front of you, and we'll try to pull you to the front."
Kenny Powell going to give a shot to the bumper. John Mullins trying to push the 64 machine up and up to Heath Schneider. With all the damage that Schneider has in the front of his cars, these guys have got to get by him. He is only slowing them down in this type of position the way he's in right now.
Well, they might have to use a low line to do that, Nolan, and it looks like Snyder is going to hog that high line. So they're going to have to use, well, they can get the high line in the turns. If they can get that working for them, they'll get past them. But otherwise, they're all running the same line. And this is, oh, Kenny Powell clips the wall, goes to the inside, and he saves it. Nice job, Kenny Powell in the 24 machine.
Unfortunately, this has pretty much neutralized any chance Powell had at winning this race, with now going to be under 10 laps to go at the line. Powell has dropped back to the second smaller grouping of cars, and he will not be able to fight for a win today. Leaving it between just one G&G driver up in the front of this thing, with a Gator Racing driver up there as well, John Mullins, and 3 frontline drivers, knowing 1, 2, 3.
Now it looks like we're going to finally bail on Snyder here. It looked like it was going to happen, but Hoffman was unable to stay on that low line and help him out, so he's going to stick to the high side and try to take the position away from Snyder on the high side here.
Justin Levine having to go top side here, as Kyle Labrie taking the bottom shelf in the battle for the race lead. You can see they're starting to slice and dice just in behind John Mullins and Clayton Hoffman, trying to fight it up behind them. But look at Heath Schneider trying to play spoiler to everybody in the back. I can almost guarantee you, Al, this is strategy from Heath Schneider, trying to keep the cars behind that bay so his frontline team is going to have an easy win. Hoffman is broken free, though, and he is running down Levine.
Yeah, he is side by side with him. He's going to try to break this up, but he's going to have to stay on that high side. He's going to have that momentum, and once he gets that momentum, the drivers behind him can help push him to the front of this thing, and everybody wants to get to the front, so they're going to do everything they can to push. Like Hoffman is getting a great run on the on the inside, and he drafts off the 19 of Levine there, and it's not going to help him because Levine's got high side help, and looks like Clayton Hoffman is going to be hung up to dry. So unless Hoffman can get the side draft here, he's going to be what they call screwed.
It'll be 6 laps to go at the line. Every corner that Hoffman is side by side with Levine, Kyle Labrie pulls further and further in front. If Hoffman's wanting to get the chance of the win, he has got to make short work of Levine here. He cannot afford to be held behind him like this.
Well, there might be a caution brewing. I mean, they're bumping on each other and they're hitting on each other. Looks like Mullins just got a little squirrely and it's got 3 wide. They're 3 wide for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Oh, Mullins clearing himself. Chuck Sweeting backed out to avoid turning John Mullins in turn number 1. Mullins is cleared. They're getting closer and closer in the battle for the race lead as well. And now the top three all running nose to tail with each other, coming to 5 to go.
Looks like Brian Johnson is trying to get back in the mix of this, but he is 2 seconds back. He's going to need a small miracle here. He's going to need those drivers up front, the first, second, third, and fourth, well, actually first, second, and third, to be racing side by side to give him an opportunity to get up. He's closing in 2/10 every lap here. He doesn't have enough time. He's got 5 laps to go. He is on a mission. He's on the mail, as they call it. He just moved himself right back up into 6th. And this is a driver we just watched through the major power slide setting earlier on in this race.
He needs a caution is what he needs, really. Realistically, he's not making his way out there and taking this win without one. Not with 4 to go. It's not happening. For Hoffman, though, his fight certainly isn't over, especially with Levine getting closer and closer to the back end of Kyle Labrie. You wonder now how much are these two frontline teams going to work together to keep G&G at bay. Levine and Labrie, they honestly start to look to me like they're starting to almost fight with each other here, with Labrie trying to break the draft down the front stretch.
Well, they're trying to break the draft of Clayton Hoffman because they definitely know he's got some speed behind him or underneath him. So if they can kind of mess with him a little bit here and break his draft, it'll work. It'll work in their favor. That's why one's riding the kind of like the middle lane, the other one's riding the low lane. They're trying to kind of break this draft that Hoffman may have here. But I think Hoffman's got a little bit of trickery up his sleeve here, and he's going to pull something out of his hat here. I'm just waiting for it. I think he's going to use one of them as a pit here. If he can get between them, it's going to be one hell of a race.
3 laps to go. Make that 2.5. Look at how close Levine is to Labrie off of turn number 2. No doubt Levine is wanting to go, but he's got to realize he's got to push Labrie first. Even with the bump, though, look at how close Hoffman is out through turn number 3. The 92 looking for the inside, but backs off. And Hoffman's coming to the pits. Hoffman can't make it out. He's coming in.
Why could he not make it to the end? I mean,
short field the car and the pit stops. You talked about it before.
Yeah, I did. He didn't want that much weight. He didn't take enough fuel. He underestimated the amount of fuel he was going to need. That's going to pretty much close it out for Hoffman there. And it looks like this is going to be a Kyle Labrie and Levine battle. They're not going to be teammates and stay up there for long. They're going to try to battle each other.
They'll have all the time in the world to do so. Brian Johnson's up to 3rd, but he is nowhere near close enough to be able to run them down. It's a 2-car train, and it's a teammate battle as well. As they take the white flag further behind, Brian Johnson, John Mullins looking to do battle. Mullins pips Johnson at the line. Going to pick up 3rd place, but the race is not yet over. 1 more lap to go. Race is now official. You've got Heath Schneider trying to throw his hat in the ring as well. Up for the lead. Justin Levine trying to run down Kyle Labrie. Back straightaway. Final time today. Levine has got all the draft to work with. Does he try to go for the over-under? Does Labrie go defensive? So far, neither driver making looks both through turn 3 or turn 4. Levine loose on the bottom side. Labrie holding the top shelf. Justin Levine is going to get the win here at Michigan International Speedway. He wins the Canterbury RV 200 by a country mile. Levine can't get there. Behind, Brian Johnson out-drags John Mullins for 3rd.
Great job. That was tremendous driving from all these drivers tonight. We had a couple little hiccups, a couple little mishaps, but all in all, what a fantastic race.
Amazing race indeed. I mean, you can't have much of a better run than that throughout the entirety of the field. I mean, Heath Schneider, he dropped back a few spots, but apart from that, it was a good run out there. Everybody is complete now across the line, so we'll take a look back at your official ButtKicker post-race results. Kyle Labrie takes an easy victory with Justin Levine down in 2nd place. Brian Johnson rounds out the podium with John Mullins in 4th. Kenny Fowle 5th. Chris Johnson 6th with Chuck Sweeney, Heath Schneider, Brian Littleton, and Roy Hyde rounding out the top 10.
And coming in 11th is a 7 of Wayne Grossi. 12th is Jeffrey Souza. 13th, Rob Patton Gale. 14th, Paul Olson. 15th, Josh Schaffner. 16th, Dan Shamoon. 17th, Gil Gock. 18th, Clayton Hoffman. 19th, Paul Regney. And rounding out the top 20 is the 5 of Greg Wychinski.
Continuing down through the order, you've got yourself Connor Mulligan down in 11th place, not finishing the race, along with Matthew McMeekin, Austin Greer, Chad Sullivan, Michael Grant, Eduardo Oliveira, and Randy Drumhill are rounding out the 27-car field, with Cecil Keith not making the green flag. An exciting race then from Michigan International Speedway. What a run indeed. We're going to start bringing up people, and we'll be able to give a chat with some of our drivers here at the end of this one. We'll kick things off with Brian Johnson. Brian, I mean, what a ride for you. I mean, it was kind of up and down all day long, but at the end of the day, a third-place finish, not bad at all.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. Yeah, it was a good race. First off, congrats to Kyle. He ran a really good race. Those frontline guys were super fast. You know, once they got past me at the front at the first of the race, you know, I thought it was done. I got shuffled back pretty far. So, yeah, a little luck went my way, and I was able to keep the car clean and come out with the top 5. So I'm happy.
What's your thoughts here? I mean, we're coming up to the end of not just the regular season of the Super Cup Series season, but also the end of the Season 3 Cup Series here in 2021. So no doubt it should be entertaining, to say the very least, coming on up here in the next few weeks. Daytona's up next. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's another wild card race. Just keep it clean, stay consistent, continue to put up good finishes.
Nolan, I hate to interrupt here, but are you gonna ignore that amazing save towards the end of this race? Are we not gonna talk about that?
Oh, absolutely not. We should definitely acknowledge that as well. I mean, I think it's needless to say at that point, when your car brakes sideways as much as it does there, Brian, is it all instinct, or do you have any thoughts that go through your head first?
Oh, yeah, I definitely have to change my drawers after that one. I drifted halfway around turn 1 and 2 there. Killed the tires. I mean, I just didn't have any more speed after that. It was super tight. But, I was able to save it and carry on.
And in doing so, picking up a third-place finish as well from what could have been a much worse result as a result of what could have been. So great job on that finish and that save, in fact, Brian. Hopefully you'll have the best of luck going forward at Daytona. Before I let you go here, anybody you'd like to shout out for your G&G Racing number 4?
Yeah, shout out to Southern Spiral Pipe, G&G. Shout out to Clayton for putting together the setup this week. It was really good, really fast. So, and thanks you guys. Thanks, Kenny, for putting this on.
And thank you, Brian, for taking the time to come on up and join us on another Thursday night. Best of luck next week at Daytona.
Thanks, guys.
That is your third-place finisher, Brian Johnson. Continuing through the order, Al Kozlowski standing by with second-place finisher, Justin Levine.
Justin Levine, Al Kozlowski in the booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Al?
How we doing, Justin? We had a good race tonight, brother. You came up here and you made a good show on this thing. You gave everything you got to Labrie. I thought maybe you could have given him a little bumper or two. Was that not what you wanted to do, or?
If I had a chance, I definitely would. I low fueled it, and I had to save a little bit there. So that final corner, I backed it up just to make sure that I wasn't going to sputter and hopefully try to get a slide job in. But when I went to the bottom, it just went straight up the track.
Yeah, it looked like you got a little drifting going on there in that last lap, but you managed to pull it off and pull off a second-place finish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, it was a great run. Next week, we are going to be at Daytona. Any thoughts on that?
Just try to lead every lap, be out front.
Well, that's good. I bet there's going to be at least 30 drivers that are going to try to do the same thing.
Gonna be fun.
All right, brother. Well, congratulations on that second-place finish. How about some shout-outs to some sponsors, some relatives watching? Anybody? It's your mic.
Gotta thank you guys. Can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast. Gotta thank Kenny for everything he does to put on ISCA for us. Enjoy racing here every Thursday night. Gotta thank Frontline, all the work they did for this car. Amazing car. We always have fun here. And Abruzzi.
Well, good job. They all did great by you. You have a good night, Justin, and we can't wait to see you next week, and hopefully we get to talk to you in a podium.
Thank you. You too.
Well, Nolan, who do we want to talk to next? There's only one driver left, and I don't know if he wants to talk to us or not. Let's see if we can get a hold of Kyle Labrie in that number 9 machine.
Well, Kyle, this is Nolan Rempel up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. How you doing?
Oh my gosh, Kyle, what a race. I mean, it was a quick one, only an hour and 17 minutes, but it was a hard-fought one. No doubt not an easy drive for you and your frontline crew.
No, we we had a good run in that first stage. Definitely had had to fight off some adjustments from the other drivers out there. I got a little loose, gave it up, but we fought hard. Came back in that last stage, and we were able to put something together for him at the end.
He certainly put on some good form indeed. And we saw that you were having a little bit of a tangle with Clayton Hoffman and Justin Levine in those final few laps. What was the plan? Was the plan for Levine to kind of help you out there to get that win?
I mean, definitely needed a win. Had some bad luck in the last couple of races, but definitely shifting back and forth between the two, trying to keep them dead even. That way I can keep as much space with me as possible. Didn't even know Clayton was close on fuel. So having Justin behind me, I wasn't going to make the same mistake that Heath had made. And I was preparing for a dive bomb, and I saw it there, and he just said it wouldn't stick. So we were able to come out on top with it.
We look forward, of course, to Daytona International Speedway. It's an entertaining track, to say the least, but the new drafty package means that we could be seeing a bit more of a processional race going forward. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think it's going to be any type of secret. You're going to have guys willing to work with you to be up front, but that's ultimately not what it's going to come down to. I mean, you can just go ahead and flip a coin and see if you finish the race, but hopefully it's good enough for the broadcast that we could put on a good show there.
Well, thank you, Kyle, and congratulations on a very hard-fought win here from Michigan International Speedway. Before we let you go here, anybody that you'd like to shout out for your frontline number 9?
Absolutely, everybody over at Frontline, all the builders. Dan Shamoon put a lot of time into this, so it was definitely hard watching him go out the way he did, but put on a hell of a work for this set. Bruzy Racewear, go online to a Bruzy and definitely get your sim racing apparel there. And lastly, I'd like to thank my wife. She has to deal with me using up all the internet to be able to run these races on Thursday night, so I really appreciate her for letting me do that.
We appreciate you, Kyle, for turning up week in, week out, and for being able to join us here tonight. Congratulations on a well-deserved victory, and best of luck next week at Daytona.
Thank you, boys. Thanks for the broadcast.
Well, Al, as we get set to close things out here, it's been a good one so far. I mean, a good, thrilling end to the season. Of course, regular season and the Super Cup Series season wraps up in just 1 week's time at Daytona. Oh boy, we're in for a show.
Yeah, we can't ignore the fact that we want to give a humongous thanks to Canterbury RVs tonight for helping sponsor tonight's race. And if you have any ideas, or you'd like to have a race sponsored by you or your company, then go ahead and give us a reach out. You should see on the screen here shortly on how you can get a hold of us to sponsor a race. So anyways, thank you, Canterbury RVs, and of course, thank you, ButtKicker. I'm Al Kozlowski, Nolan Rempel in the booth. Until next week, we have Daytona, baby. See you there.